Hello, my fire zodiac signs. Welcome to your March 2022 check-in reading. So for you, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, what's going to happen today is we're going to use our Halloween tarot here, and we're going to get a 3-card spread to get the overall energy of March for you guys. So it's going to be up to you how you decide you want to read it. You can read it as like past, present, future, or you can read it as like first period of March, second period of March, third period of March, roughly like the first 10 days, 11 through 20 something, and then the 20 through 31st, depending on how you want. That spring equinox is going to fall right in between the second and third card if you're going to do it that way. So just something to keep in mind. Spring equinox is definitely very, very relevant, feels like, for March coming up, for a big energy shift for all the signs so far. But yeah, so then after that, once we get that 3-card spread, we'll break it down a little bit by zodiac sign and get a theme card from the archetypes deck for each sign. Okay, so let's get started with our Halloween tarot first. Trying to be a little quiet here because it's pretty late at night when I'm filming this. So okay. I like using the Halloween tarot because it's very accurate with its messages, but it tends to be a little bit more on the nicer side versus some of my other tarot decks. So Halloween tarot, please give me the first card for March 2022 for our fire zodiac signs. Our Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. First period card for fire zodiac, March 2022. Thank you. That is Judgment in reverse. Okay, thank you. Second period card for our fire zodiac signs for March 2022. Oh, on my lap. How do you want that? Sideways. Okay, King of Pumpkins. Interesting. There we go. And then final period card, please, for March 2022 for our fire zodiac signs. Like that. Okay. So that was the Queen of Ghosts that also fell out, so we'll kind of keep that up here so that energy's presence. I'll keep it in mind as I'm doing this reading here. Okay, thank you, Halloween tarot. Okay, so my fire zodiac signs here, we've got Judgment in reverse. We've got the King of Pumpkins, which is the King of Pentacles, coming out sideways, so not upright or in the reverse. We've got the Nine of Pumpkins, which is also that Pentacles there. And then the card that came out was the Queen of Ghosts, and that is the Queen of Cups in the normal tarot. So let us look at this a little bit deeper and see what's going on. Straighten out the cards here, one second. Okay. So my fire zodiac signs, in March, we are definitely working on rebalancing some things in our life. Obviously, with our spring equinox coming in here in March 20th, we have that energy kind of present already. It's present for everyone, specifically for you, though, fire zodiac signs. We are looking at with our Judgment in reverse here, we have something we are kind of denying ourselves, right? There's pre-judgment here. There is the Judgment card talks about like our inner critic and judging ourselves really, really harshly, right? And also ignoring things that are maybe being presented to you, and you judging them too harshly or ignoring them, that kind of energy there, right? This is definitely reflected. There's a choice here with our King of Pumpkins coming out sideways. I don't know if you noticed when I was drawing initially, it kind of fell in my lap and it fell out sideways too, and I was trying to see if it would come out upright or reverse. So I kind of tossed it in the air again and it still came out in this kind of sideways position. So there is definitely a lot of free will movement in this section of the reading here, whether this is the present energy come March, or if that's just the energy that was present, that kind of middle energy right before we kind of actually make a choice here before the spring equinox. So what's kind of going on, it feels like, with Judgment and this King of Pumpkins here is that we're really questioning or trying to figure, we're kind of being called out by the universe here a little bit. Our pumpkins slash pentacles definitely talk about like career, finances, that like material world, right? But they also, it really also has to do with like your energy and your like the amount of energy you have to give and the amount of energy you receive, right? That's our abundance in its own way. Not like our emotions or anything, but literally just the amount of energy we have in a given day. And with the Judgment card, right, coming out in reverse, there's something, definitely feels like there's something we are ignoring here. There's some situation here you feel like you are being judged for, and whether you are being fairly judged in that situation, that is going to be up to your interpretation here. But with this King of Pumpkins coming out sideways here, there's definitely a wondering for how you are going to progress in this energy, right? An upright King of Pumpkins is somebody who is financially stable, more emotionally stable, as they are strong and steady and steadfast, and are making good decisions at any given point, making the right decision at the right time, very, very secure in so many aspects of their life, right? Versus a reverse King of Pumpkins, in this case, reverse King of Pentacles. That's somebody that is maybe very, very unstable in certain ways, that doesn't have their life together, or somebody that is very frivolous and kind of willy with their money. And so it's like somebody that like gambles, maybe, that's throwing their money away on vices and different things like that. That's kind of that King of Pumpkins energy coming out in the reverse. So with it being sideways here, it's really up to you for how this energy progresses and how this energy situates itself based on your free will here, right? So our Judgment coming out in reverse, you're either judging yourself too harshly on something and not giving yourself the grace to live to an upright King of Pumpkins, or you are not listening to how do I want to say it? You're not listening to what the universe is saying, maybe friends and family or people that have concerns are saying in terms of judgment and things you're doing in your life, right? And are maybe you're leaning towards this King of Pumpkins in reverse, depending, right? There's definitely a choice here. This energy, it feels very, very tied into each other here. Our reverse Judgment card and our King of Pumpkins, they are very heavily tied into each other based on how you react to this Judgment situation in reverse. Here's how this King of Pumpkins is going to end up flipping. So good news though, with this rebalancing of energy here, right? I definitely still think this the spring equinox energy right here is very, very relevant for you as well, my fire's zodiac signs, because we do have our King 9 pumpkins coming out here. So this lends to a beneficial choice, like a choice that is made properly, that handling this situation over here in the correct manner, refiguring out yourself, resituating, and then coming out with 9 of pumpkins, which is almost like 100% all that's prosperity and abundance and growth coming out in a lot of ways, right? So we see all these very, very full pumpkins around this feminine figure here, with all this growth and progress and forward moving energy. So really, really good energy there as well. And with our Queen of Ghosts that's up here, just kind of hanging out secretly, the Queen of Ghosts energy kind of adds in a little bit more emotional element here with our energy. Very, very heavily in the physical reality here, right, with our pumpkins being our pentacles, but that Queen of Ghosts lends a little bit more to the emotional side and that balancing of emotions as well, because it was coming out with this 9 of pumpkins here. Okay, so you have a choice here, my fire zodiac signs. We'll see how this breaks down for each individual zodiac sign and kind of what this situation might be based in, whether it's love or career slash finances, spirituality, something like that. We'll see how it breaks down with a theme card for each zodiac sign. But overall, my fire zodiac signs, there is a choice here for how you are going to handle a situation, right? You're not in the best mental state maybe currently. The way you're currently handling the situation is not the best, with our judgment coming out in reverse here, but it's you have the opportunity to put it and flip it in a good way and handle it in the proper way, as in an upright King of Pumpkins, in order to receive this Nine of Pumpkins. Okay, so the goal is to handle this right, get this to go upright, and then you end up, this is like your reward at the end for putting in that work and putting in that effort. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that resonates. Let's see, anything else here? Anything else? Our judgment card here is very interesting. So we see our vampire here. We see our mummies, right? So we have a male, masculine, and feminine. On the thing, on their gravestones, we have awaken, sleeper, rise, and then a skull with wings. And there's definitely like a child figure here, right? So the energy is a little bit different than the normal like Rider-Waite tarot. This energy feels, judgment here feels a little bit more, I don't know what's the right, like loose. I think it definitely plays into the free will aspect a little bit more. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting, where it's like the choice and ability to change our situation at any given time, which is true of any situation, of course, but judgment here specifically gives you a little bit more leeway in order, at least in this tarot, in order to change your situation for the better here, right? And this tarot is definitely a little bit nicer. This with the King of Pumpkins coming out, it's not saying, hey, you are being a reverse King of Pumpkins or an upright one. It's just giving you the option where it's like, okay, hey, let's figure this out, okay? And knowing that you have the option to create this beautiful Nine of Pumpkins at the end. Okay, so now let's hop into the individual portions for each zodiac sign. So down below, I will have our timestamps for each individual sign. And let us hop into it now. We're going to use our Wild Unknown Archetypes deck. So when you are ready, I will see each individual sign in their portion, okay? Okay, Aries, let us get started with you. Let us see what this energy breaks down for you in the month of March. Archetypes deck, please give me the theme for Aries for March of 2022. Please give me the theme for Aries for March of 2022. Based on the spread of the Halloween tarot as well, if you please. Oh, there we go. The Offering. Okay. The Offering. Let us see. Let us see. For you, my Aries, Aries sign here, the Offering is actually pretty clear, pretty cut and dry for the most part here, right? So for you specifically, Aries, our judgment card coming out in reverse, I was talking about that ignoring of a sign or call, bigger call from the universe, right? And that's definitely probably the situation here with you for this Offering card coming out. The Offering is kind of like it says on the tin here in this case, where it's the offering of self, or offering of something in order to grow and lighten our load and give, so that way there's more purpose and more coming out of life. This is definitely lots of big energy for you, kind of in a big, more cosmic way, and like a bigger spiritual way for March of 2022. Lots of big energy here for you, Aries, for sure. So you probably already maybe have an idea of kind of what's going on here. That inkling, that little like tickle in the back of your mind, that like little voice of intuition talking to you, where it's like, hey, you should be doing this. Why aren't you doing this? You need to give your time to this. You need to put your energy into this, right? That's you offering yourself to this bigger cause, this bigger picture. And the universe is trying to get you there as well, right? So with our King of Pumpkins here, right, I really talk about, well, the pumpkins / pentacles is really like our physical reality. I really talk about energy with the pentacles a lot too, because time is energy. We have a certain amount of energy in a day to give. So when we're giving it to a job or career, finance in order to receive money, in this case, right, it's an exchange, and energy is exchange. And it just depends on what the currency is, right? What currency we're calling, but it just breaks down to time and energy. So specifically when I think about the pentacles, I think about energy. Wands, I think about passion and kind of vitality and inner fire. The wands in this case, in this tarot specifically, is the imps. Cups is the ghosts, and that is our emotions and that kind of deeper intuition. And then finally, our swords is like our mental and mental capacity and thoughts and processes, right? But pentacles, I really, really, really think of that energy aspect here. So this offering is that energy, offering your time, offering your focus, offering the energy you have to give in a day, right? We can only do so many things in a day. We have so much energy in our body based on how much food we eat, how much sleep we get. And all of that we expend depending on what we're trying to give, right? So you offering that to a specific cause, to a specific situation, to a specific person means a lot and matters, right? So this King of Pumpkins here being a master over their energy, being a master over how much they give, how much they receive, being stable, being steady, right? And that's kind of the goal. And you offering this to whatever it may be, does bring abundance to you back in the end. This Nine of Pentacles here, right? That is that close to fulfillment, right? That one right before the 10, and all this abundance growing, right? All these pumpkins growing, and that's energy coming back to you, almost tenfold here in this case, right? So Aries, for you for March of 2022, you're really kind of being called, universe is really, really calling you to be like, okay, hey, it's time. It's time. It's going to be worth it to you to do this thing. So whatever it may be, if it's time to switch to a new job, if it's time to take the next step in your relationship, if it's time to start that blog or start that project, whatever creative project it is, whatever that the universe is calling you to do, right? And you're kind of too scared, you're kind of ignoring it, right? You're fearful of judgment, you're feared for being judged for it, you're fearful of how it'll pan out for you, right? The universe is really just like, hey, no, it's time. You're being offered this opportunity, and this goes both ways, right? The universe is offering this opportunity to you. And in exchange, you offer up yourself, your energy, your time, in order to give back to it. And with this, there becomes greater abundance, greater success, right? And we see that coming out with our Nine of Pumpkins here. So, Aries, it's going to be an interesting March for you, potentially. Again, you have free will in the situation. It's up to you for what you want to do. You can keep ignoring whatever the situation is. I know this is definitely a little bit of a confrontational reading potentially for you, Aries, but it's just what the cards are pulling out, what the energy's kind of saying here. And it's like, you can keep ignoring it. You can let it go by the wayside. And one of two things will usually happen in my experience in this case, where you literally miss out on a very, very great opportunity and you feel that potentially for the rest of your life, or the universe will not give you a choice. And this is kind of free will and spiritual evolution, whatever kind of things you want to tie into it, right? Or the universe will create a tower moment potentially for you and force you into the situation anyway. And that is less fun to experience than just just going about it with your free will and choosing it and putting in that time and efforts to grow and make it what it needs to be. Either way, the choice is up to you for how you want to handle it, and then the good consequences or bad consequences are going to be up to you and the universe. So just keep that in mind, Aries. The offering of yourself, offering yourself to things that the universe and your higher self wants you to do, usually will turn out well for you. But I know it can be very, very scary for sure, right? That fear of judgment, that fear of the unknown. But you have reassurance here in this case that it'll pan out very, very well for you. Okay. So Aries, I'm curious to see what the energy will be for you like next month, based on kind of what decisions end up happening here. Spring equinox, just keep that in mind. That's going to be a very, potentially tumultuous time for a lot of signs, but the energy is going to be a big shift for everybody anyway. So that happened March 20th around here, and just really listen to your intuition, okay? So I'll see you next month. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Okay, my Leos, let us see what your theme is based on this Halloween tarot spread, what your theme is for March of 2022. Archetypes deck, please give me the theme for Leo for March of 2022. Almost. And whoa, too many. You want the one, yeah? There's two there though. No, let's try that again. Okay, you fell again. That's fine. So the kiss to kind of keep in mind back over there. And then we have Gnosis. Interesting. Okay. Leos, for you for March of 2022, we have Gnosis coming out here, right? So when I was shuffling the cards, the two had come out, the other card being the kiss over here. And when I was shuffling, I was like, okay, hey, two cards came out. It was kind of a messy card situation for a second, so I put them back in, right? And then the Gnosis still ended up falling back out of my hand. So I was like, okay, that's definitely our card. Let's go with it. Gnosis is an interesting one, though, in the archetypes. It has a higher level meaning than a lot of the other theme cards, and let's see how they describe it. The booklet calls it the initiation cards, one of the initiation cards. So higher level energy here for sure for you, Leo, and a lot going on. So what is interesting here for you, Leo, right, is this card has the moon on it and kind of surrounded by a black kind of sun figurine, figure coloring here, and you are the opposite of that. Leo is ruled by the sun, so it's kind of interesting, the moon energy coming out for you here. And the Gnosis card really talks about the mystical, metaphysical kind of arts and energy. So that's that psychic energy. This is like what I do here with tarot. That is the astrology. That is alchemy and all those elements, right? Anything that kind of falls under those esoteric teachings and knowledge. And it's potential that you've come into some of this knowledge or come to the realization that this knowledge is present and exists, and you are in the process of discovering it, right? That definitely works with our reverse judgment card here, because there is a denial there of these things being present potentially, and the way the energy works and the universe works based on these esoteric teachings. I know definitely in my experience as well, there's definitely fear coming out. There's fear that comes out when I say I'm a tarot reader, right? Or I say I do read tarot and work with oracle cards, or that I practice Reiki or Jinshin or any of those other things. There's definitely a little bit of fear that comes out with that, right? Because it's not as well understood in our Western society, Western cultures, and heavy judgment for that, right? And if you believe in past lives, many people were persecuted based for working in these esoteric fields and teachings and helping people in these ways. So there's definitely a lot of energy that comes from that, and that's not a surprise for why there might be denial here in the reverse judgment card, if this is kind of the energy you're dealing with, gnosis and this higher level knowledge. It doesn't necessarily, in this case, I'm generalizing a little bit more for everybody, but it doesn't have to necessarily be esoteric knowledge, but it could just be some knowledge you've come into recently that you are having a hard time incorporating into your life, having a hard time believing, and you're kind of having a little bit denial about it. It could be knowledge about yourself. It could be knowledge about a relationship or career, different thing, anything like that. And it definitely lends itself to a little bit more of our physical reality here because of our pumpkins, with our King of Pumpkins sideways and our Nine of Pumpkins here. So you potentially learn something, gain some knowledge in a way you were not expecting or hoping for, that's kind of thrown you off, right? And you're having a really, really hard time accepting this knowledge here. However, with Gnosis coming out, as well as kind of this theme, overarching theme, there is this knowledge is definitely of a higher caliber kind of spiritually. It's coming in because it's helping teach you a larger lesson, teaching you something bigger about yourself and about life, and integrating this knowledge is going to help change up how your abundance works and how you progress forward, right? With our King of Pumpkins coming out sideways, it's up to you for how you end up integrating this knowledge and using this knowledge, right? We want to be somebody who takes everything around us and incorporates that knowledge and uses it to become a steady, stable, king-like figure, right? Somebody who rules justly and fairly and with a strong manner, but also fair and kind at the same time, right? With our Queen of Ghosts hiding kind of in the top over here. I have it above the sideways King of Pumpkins here. So that Queen of Ghosts energy with it, that more emotional aspect, that intuition, that knowledge in that more intuitive sense, right? And that kind of ties in with our Gnosis card as well. That intuition with being like that esoteric knowledge as well. But with you incorporating this energy, right, incorporating this new knowledge that you have, Leos, this is what leads to that Knight of Pumpkins energy here. That leads to this big abundance, this bigger abundant. I used abundance already, but it's more than that. There's more energy, more to go around, right? Like this. Like our pumpkins here talk like, is that physical reality again? So it's like all those physical reality things, our relationship, our home life, our career, finances, all those aspects. And each of these pumpkins growing very, very large, right? So what's interesting to note here as well for you Leos is this common bird imagery across. So we've got our bird flying here. We've got an owl sitting on the hand of this feminine figure in the Nine of Pumpkins. And that knowledge being represented and incorporated, right, as we get into this Nine of Pentacles, being accepted by this figure in the Nine of Pumpkins here. So keep that in mind, right, where it's like, okay, you want to get to this point, you want to get to this Nine of Pumpkins with the abundance and the growth, opportunities for growth and having growth in your life and being financially stable and taken care of and secure. And we do that, you do that specifically, Leo, by accepting this Gnosis knowledge that's come to you, right? Accepting it and holding it in your hand in this case with our Nine of Pumpkins. So keep that in mind as you're kind of working through March here. There's a lot of interesting energy for you here, Leo. Definitely for my fire zodiac signs, the way this spread is panning out is definitely a little bit different for each sign versus some of my other elemental zodiacs, where the energy was more similar across the board for their archetypes and themes. So I understand, right, that judgment for knowledge that you have that others don't, and potentially sharing that knowledge or realizing that knowledge is a thing, right? But you incorporating this into your life, into yourself, is going to bring you a lot more abundance and growth, okay? So keep that in mind, Leo. There's a lot of interesting energy for you here. I'm curious how this is going to pan out for you in the next month in April. Keep in mind our spring equinox here coming up in March 20th. That's going to be a big shakeup of energy for everybody, it feels like. So just kind of keep it in mind. It doesn't feel super prevalent or present for you, but that choice comes right in this area too at the same time, right? Because it's like, okay, reverse, sideways, upright. So that date might be very, very relevant for you, or you might feel the difference, or it might be easier to help incorporate this Gnosis energy, this Gnosis knowledge into the Nine of Pumpkins as that spring equinox hits for you, okay? So, Leo, that's all I have for you. I'll see you next month in April. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Okay, last but not least, my Sagittarius sign here. Okay, so Sagittarius, let us see what your theme is based on the Halloween tarot spread up here for March of 2022. Archetypes deck, please give me the theme for Sagittarius for March of 2022. Thinking about it. Oop. Okay, we'll reshuffle. Theme for Sagittarius, please, for March of 2022. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Thank you. The Village. The Medallion. Okay, one card. Felt like there was two for a second there. Okay, the Village. Let's just see what this is, Sagittarius. Okay, my Sagittarius is here. So we have the Village coming out for your theme for March of 2022. And the Village is both kind of the start and the end of a journey a lot of the time, right? So I think about anybody going on their hero's journey. You can take a lot of different Disney movies, different movies over time, right? It's really that feeling of Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey, right? So we started in the village, growing up, right? In my head, Moana's coming to mind because I watched it recently. But Moana, for example, or growing up in the village, right? That safety net, that security, that family, that comfort and stability there in the village. And eventually there's something that's forces you, drives you out. This is the start of the Fool's Journey in the tarot as well, where there is the getting out. There's a call to more. There's a call to change up the situation, change up the dynamics, change up who you are and leave the village, right? And that's kind of that start where it's like, okay, leaving the safety and security, moving out for the first time, right? Moving out from living with your parents, potentially, going to college, coming out of even childhood into adulthood, right? There's that concept of the village present in many, many aspects of our lives. And where it kind of ties into our Halloween tarot up here, right? We have our Judgment card, we've got our King of Pumpkins and our Nine of Pumpkins. And our reverse Judgment card is talking about potentially denying something in ourselves, being too harsh, too critical of ourselves. But there's something, at least what it feels like for fire zodiac sign specifically, there's something we are denying in ourselves that is present from the universe, right? A higher calling, a higher purpose, trying to be more, change more, do more in our lives. And for you, Sagittarius, for the village specifically, it's really trying to call you out of calling out you to get out of your safety net, out of your safety zone, right? That safe place, things you've done normally, right? And we have that little bit of aspect of denial coming out with that reverse Judgment here, where it's like, okay, hey, I don't want to stop doing the same things I'm doing right now. I don't want to face these things that scare me potentially, right? So look at our village here, where it's like, okay, hey, this is the safe place potentially here, and then it's like there's desolate and scary things all around potentially, but it's like if you go climb this mountain, you're going to find this beautiful lush valley on the other side. Potentially there's so much more out there, so much more to learn and grow from and change and get better and improve with, right? And you have reassurance here, Sagittarius, that the growth process is worth it in the end for you, right? The changes and stepping outside of your comfort zone here leads to a lot of abundance for you with our 9 of pumpkins over here. All these lush pumpkins growing almost to completion here, right? With our 10. 9 of pumpkins is a really, really great card to see. So you have the choice, Sagittarius, for how you choose to handle things, right? Our King of Pumpkins coming out sideways here, where it's like, okay, do you handle it in a stable manner, in a secure way, really thought out and meticulous, or are you just gonna ignore it potentially completely? Are you going to be frivolous and just kind of like don't think things through? You could be a little naive potentially, or purposely naive, ignoring things and for how you handle, right? And let yourself get lost, let yourself get hurt, and potentially never leave this village, right? Potentially never grow and change and get better. You really think about what it's kind of really reminding me is potentially getting stuck, right? If it's like, okay, hey, you never journey outside your village, you're never going to meet new people, change, grow, do different things with your life, and become a better version of yourself potentially, because you're always around the same people doing the same things all the time, right? So there is really a call here for you, Sagittarius, with this energy to figure out what that comfort zone is, right? Figure out what this village is, because it's, again, it can be many, many different things. It doesn't have to literally be a physical place, right? For some people, it might be obvious. For Sagittarius, like you, like choosing to move out, right? That might be the obvious one for some of you potentially, but it could be something more mental, right? Where it's like, okay, choosing to leave a job, choosing to change up your friend group, change up a relationship, change up your something that popped, like leave a religion or leave your church. That might be relevant for some of you. That's a big village one for some of you. That's a lot of energy and potentially difficult depending. So because that's a community, right? Leaving a village is also potentially leaving a community and changing up that community, and that itself can be very scary and like come with its own, it feels like it's dangerous, right? But this is that historic like village energy, right? It's like we lived in villages and congregated together for safety. This is not necessarily the case anymore in our human culture, right? Where it's like, okay, leaving a friend group and finding a new friend group is going to offer you growth and abundance in this case. Okay, Sagittarius, changing up the dynamics, changing up how you react to situations and doing different things, leaving this village in a mental capacity, in your energy. We are King of Pumpkins. Our 9 of Pumpkins is definitely refers to energy to me. If you change up how you interact with it, you'll get new and abundant things coming out of it, okay? So take the time to just kind of evaluate your life, see what you're kind of in denial about, and what you know you need to leave, but you don't want to. And that's going to be your important thing moving forward, Sagittarius, where it's like, okay, hey, this is time. This is what I need to do now. And it's going to offer you a lot of abundance and growth and opportunities in the future. So keep in mind, as we're coming into March here, this March energy, spring equinox is going to be a big energy for most of the signs, it feels like. So that's happening on March 20th, so just kind of keep that in mind here. But this is all I have for you, Sagittarius. Hopefully it resonates. Hopefully it makes sense. I'll see you next month in April, and have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.